Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you 20 different disc formats, both popular and obscure, from the last 40 years that can be played back in these 5 different players. To help me remember which disc can be played back in which one of these players, I thought I would have a little fun, so I created this totally unnecessary disc type detector out of an old coffee machine. Here's how it works. You take a disc, and you put it right here at the bottom, push this button, and the downward facing camera turns on, and it scans an image of the disc using AI to figure out what type it is and which of these machines can play it. It has a Raspberry Pi 5 and a Pi Pico inside, and it does a few other things too. So join me as I go through these discs and also tell you more about how this device works. I love physical media. There's something about optical discs that have always appealed to me. Maybe it's the large storage capacity, the digital technology, or the superiority to its predecessors like records or cassettes. I also love being able to play back a defunct or long-forgotten format. With that in mind, I've collected these 5 vintage players from yard sales and thrift stores over the last few years that combined can play almost any type of CD-sized disc. I've connected them all to this audio-video switcher so I can select which one is displayed on the monitor behind me. So let's get started. Disc number 1 is a plain old audio CD. This CD is from 1983, 1 year after they were introduced, and still somewhat of a novelty. It has the obligatory sound effects such as a train or a jet engine taking off to demonstrate just how great the format sounds. Now, all these machines will play standard audio CD, so I don't need any AI help just yet. I'll just pop this disc into the Yamaha DVD-E810 player from 2008. And then I'll switch it on the switcher. This is the video output of the Yamaha player. Nice background screen, huh? And now it's playing the jet engine demo track. Disc number 2 is a type of audio CD called CD+G and denoted on the disc with the CD+ graphics logo. CD+G discs store primitive graphics and animations alongside the audio and were produced for a brief period in the late 1980s, but are mostly forgotten now. Today, the format is used for karaoke machines. However, this is not a karaoke disc, but rather an original CD+G disc from 1990. So which one of these machines can actually decode this type of disc? Let's ask the AI disc type detector. The machine takes a few images of the disc with this camera and then it uses a pre-trained model to see what, if any, format logos it can identify. The Disc Detector hosts its own web page where we can see what its camera sees. Here it identified the CD+ graphics logo, and it automatically switched the switcher to the Yamaha player. How does it switch the switcher, you might ask? Well, that's accomplished by sending a command to the switcher over Ethernet. So let's play the CD+G disc. Very few CD players will decode the images embedded on this disc, but my Yamaha player will do so. Aren't these 1980s graphics neat? And by the way, all the original music in this video has been replaced with copyright-safe music, so you don't have to post a comment saying, "Hey, that's not Laura Branigan." Here's some more 80s graphics from another CD+G disc. I'm not sure why the image is so jittery though. Still looks pretty cool. Disc number 3 is also an audio CD, but it does not have any special logo to tell us that it is encoded with CD text. When I put this disc in the Yamaha player, it's going to show the artist and title of each track as it's playing. I'll switch to it now. This information is not coming from the internet or an online source, but rather data embedded within the disc itself. It was introduced in the mid-1990s, but discs and players that support CD text are pretty rare these days. In 1991, Kodak introduced the photo CD format, which is our disc number 4. It could store nearly 100 high-quality images on a CD at a time when digital photos were pretty uncommon. Let's see what the disc type detector tells us. The disc rotates so multiple angles can be analyzed. It identifies these discs and switches us to player number 6, which is a Kodak PCD-870 from 1992. We can view the sample photos on this disc, as well as zoom and crop them with this really neat remote that came with the unit. Here's the composite video output from the Kodak player. Look how fast these high-resolution photos load. Pretty impressive for 1992. By the way, take a quick look inside this early 90s disc player. No surface mount components here, but just huge ICs. Still impressive though, considering all of the image manipulation that it can do. The photo CD system was outdated by the late 1990s when personal computers became powerful enough to perform the same function. At that point, Kodak introduced the more versatile and compatible picture CD, which is disc number 5. You can still go to photo kiosks in various stores today and burn picture CDs containing your photos from a roll of film or some other source. The picture CD I found on eBay was burned in 2004, and our disc detector tells us to place it in player number 5, a SuperSonic brand player from around 2012. These SuperSonic players are low cost and sold in places such as drugstores and supermarkets, not where your typical audio-video enthusiast shops for gear. I picked it up for $5 at Goodwill because, although cheap, it has a few tricks up its sleeve, as we'll see later. Anyway, it has no problem starting a slideshow from the inserted Kodak picture CD. A coffee maker seemed like the perfect form factor to house this project. I wanted a place for a disc to rotate with a camera facing downward and a small control panel with a space for a screen. When I spotted this in the thrift store, I knew it was exactly what I needed. I removed almost everything from the inside and then rewired the coffee maker's logic board and connected its buttons and LEDs to the Pi 5's GPIO pins. I also replaced the original LCD with a similar sized OLED display. Disc number 5 is a pretty rare format called CD video. It was introduced in 1987 and was an early attempt to add full motion video to CDs. The video was recorded in the analog Laserdisc format. That's right, analog. Without digital video compression, it could only hold 5 minutes of video in this format. Now, I don't have a Laserdisc player to play back the video portion, but these discs also include 20 minutes of CD audio. Any of these machines will play that and ignore the incompatible analog video. They were also known for their unique gold color. CD video was a dead format by 1990 and superseded by our next disc, the all-digital video CD. Before DVDs were introduced, low-quality video movies were released on CDs known as video CD or VCD. Disc number 6 was actually created for the Philips CDI platform, an interactive system from the 1990s that combined audio, text, and graphics, including video games. Although this is technically just a video CD, it has the CDI logo and could be played in a compatible CDI player, so I'm counting it as that. The disc type detector once again directs us to the workhorse Yamaha player. Pretty neat screensaver on this player, huh? Video CDs are on par with VHS quality and use MPEG-1 compression. The same goes for regular video CDs, which is disc number 7. So how does the Disc Detector use AI to identify the logos on the discs? I'm using a platform called Edge Impulse that lets you train your own models using images or video that you capture yourself. I programmed a button to place the device in training mode, which connects the camera to the Edge Impulse platform. I can then start grabbing images of the discs and telling Edge Impulse where the logos are and what they represent. With enough images, I can then train the model to make its own inferences and download it to the Pi 5 so it runs locally in a Docker container. So let's keep moving on. Disc number 8 is a standard DVD which holds about 6 times as much data as a compact disc and was introduced in 1997. This one contains video, which is the most popular use for the format. I chose this disc in part because it has a really huge DVD logo on it, making it easier to train the AI model. The Disc Detector identifies the DVD logo on the disc, and once again I'm using the Yamaha player. This early disc has a really neat DVD introductory animation. Disc 9 is called a DualDisc and has a CD on one side and a DVD on the other. They were released in 2004 and discontinued in 2009. The DVD side will play in any DVD player, while the CD side is compatible with most, but not all, CD players. In the 1990s, several disc formats were released in an attempt to improve the audio quality of standard compact discs. Some of these formats required proprietary hardware to play back, while others needed no additional equipment. None of them achieved mass market success, and most people have never heard of them. The first of these is disc number 10, the HDCD. These discs claim to have better dynamic range than standard CDs and can be played back on any CD player. However, to get the benefit of the increased quality, they need to be played back on a machine that can properly decode HDCD. Remember the SuperSonic player that's found in drugstores that I mentioned earlier? Of all these machines, it's the only one that recognizes and properly plays back HDCDs. Check your CDs for the HDCD logo, and you may find that you already own some. Did you notice that when the Disc Detector identified the disc, not only did it switch the switcher input, but it also opened the player's CD drawer? That's courtesy of this IR transceiver mounted on the top of the unit. For players that support the eject function on their remotes, the disc type detector will send the appropriate code to open the drawer. To get the proper remote code, I can just press this button here, which puts the unit into receive mode. Aim the remote and press the button, and the received code is displayed. The infrared transceiver is connected to a Raspberry Pi Pico, which is a small microcontroller. That's connected to the Pi 5 via USB and uses 4 GPIO pins to trigger the appropriate remote code. The eject codes and video switcher inputs are mapped to the disk types in a Python script. Disc 11 is called the XRCD and was released around the same time as HDCD and is playable in any CD player without additional equipment because all the special sauce happens in the mastering and manufacturing process. They're considered high-end discs and they come in these fancy cases with a premium price tag. In 1999, these next two disc formats competed to become the standard in high-quality audio, offering higher resolution and multi-channel sound. Disc number 12 is the Super Audio CD. Nice case, huh? It requires a player with SACD decoding capability to obtain the special audio features. However, most SACDs, like this one, were hybrid discs that had a regular, standard CD layer that provided CD quality audio on any CD player. Let's see what the Disc Detector tells us to do with this disc. The Disc Detector directs us to player number 1, a Sony UBP-X800 that plays a number of high-end formats and is one of the best recent thrift store finds I've ever had. The Sony player rightly indicates that we're playing an SACD, though I think the text should be larger. Disc number 13 is DVD audio, the format that Super Audio CD was competing with to be the successor to the CD. It has many playback options and configurations, and most of these discs can be played back to some degree on any DVD player. The Disc Detector tells us to use the X800 again, because this one fully supports the DVD audio format, as you can see from the displayed menus. Unfortunately, neither the SACD or the DVD audio caught on with the mainstream public and remain niche products today. The DivX format was introduced in 1998 and is a defunct version of the video DVD from defunct retailer Circuit City. It was intended to be watchable for up to 48 hours after its initial viewing. The DivX players had to be connected to a phone line so a modem could track each disc and unlock or lock it as required. The format had very low acceptance rate among consumers and retailers, so it was discontinued in 1999. It's the only disc in this collection that I can't play, and the Disc Detector tells me that with the red LED. Even if I had a DivX player, the DivX servers were shut off decades ago, and so this disc can't be unlocked. Therefore, I won't even count it in the 20. Somewhat confusingly, this next disc is also called DivX, but it's unrelated to the previous format of the same name. This DivX is still around, and they make software that compresses video files a lot while maintaining a certain level of quality. Once again, the Yamaha player can play it. I used the DivX software to compress this clip to 1/10 its original size, and it still looks pretty good. By the 2000s, as more people had CD-ROM drives in their computers, the record labels introduced enhanced CDs. These contain computer data as well as standard audio tracks. The idea was that you could play the music in your CD player, and then when you put the disc in your CD-ROM drive, you could access software games that tied in with the music that you're listening to. Here's one that will play audio in any of these players. However, if I place the CD in an old Windows 98 PC, it loads a Macromedia flash-based catalog of the artist's CDs, along with an order form that I doubt still works. In 2006, two high-definition video disc formats were introduced. They engaged in a protracted format war to become the successor to the DVD. First up is disc number 16, the HD DVD, which stores over 3 times the data of a standard DVD. It was supported mainly by Toshiba, and I have their 3rd generation model A30 right here. The picture looks pretty good to me. Looking inside the unit, you can see it still seems like a prototype with off-the-shelf parts. A PC-style optical drive, power supply with a fan, and even a motherboard of sorts. It's almost just a fancy PC in a box. HD DVD competed with the Blu-ray disc format, which ultimately won the format war in 2008 when Toshiba announced that it was ending the HD DVD format. The Sony X800 is the Blu-ray player in this stack, so that's where disc number 17 will be played. There's also an audio-only version of Blu-ray with a similar goal of DVD audio and Super Audio CD to become the successor to the CD, but with the same unsuccessful results. These discs can be played in any Blu-ray player, so that's what we'll do with disc number 18. And this is the output of the Sony when playing back Blu-ray audio. Yet another format claiming higher quality audio from CDs emerged around 2018, the MQA CD. These require a proprietary decoder to realize the sonic benefits of the disc. I don't have a decoder, but the undecoded discs play back fine in any standard CD player, and they sound fine to me. However, there are plenty of opinions online about the pros and cons of MQA, so check it out if you're interested. Our final disc, number 20, is the Ultra HD Blu-ray, also known as the 4K Blu-ray. It holds the most data of any of the discs we've looked at and provides the highest resolution video. The Disc Detector rightly directs us to the mighty Sony, which boasts UHD disc compatibility. The video quality is amazing, but you need a very nice AV setup to realize all the benefits. Not what I have right here. By the way, obviously no one needs a device like this. It's just for fun, and I learn something new on each project that I build so that I can hopefully apply it to something more meaningful in the future. It's meant to be entertaining and provide inspiration for others to come up with their own unique contraptions. Check out the video description for more links to some of the items used in this project. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at 20 different disc formats and the machines that play them. You may even find some of these disc formats hiding in your collection or at a local thrift store. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon for my next video. Thanks for watching.